Hello everyone, and welcome once again to JRPTea-Time. And what else could we possibly be talking about this week? It has to be the Nintendo Switch. We just had the presentation, it was last night for me. I don't know when it was for you guys. It was about the same time, don't know what time of day it was. The Nintendo Switch was further revealed, I guess, and some people are disappointed and some people aren't. But first let's get to that tea. And tonight, I'm going to be making a tea fit for Princess Peach herself. I'm going to be making a tea called Sencha Peach. Peach tea, I have had this before. It is delicious. Already pre-boiled. So much better at this. So, teaspoon of that in. There are cool little flowers in this tea, which you might not think add much, but I think they're actually flavored, and that's what gives the peach tea most of its flavor. We'll do that. That'll be about 3 minutes, which will give us some time to talk. So, first up, there are a lot of things for JRPG fans to be excited about. I mean, a bulk of that presentation was almost only exciting for JRPG fans. Maybe not at launch, but man, there is some really cool stuff coming. But first, I just want to touch on a couple of things that most people focus in on, that most of the complaints are generally about. So the first one is the online service. Okay, so it was announced that Nintendo said they were going to have a subscription service, sort of like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, in order to play online and do some other things. Now, straight up, and even my initial reaction is, well, there's nothing they can offer that would make it worth PlayStation Plus or Xbox One. And they've already announced that, you're going to be able to get basically a virtual console game that's been retrofitted with some multiplayer stuff to play for the month. Which is nothing compared to, free games every month, multiple free games across different consoles and that kind of thing that the other guys offer. But here's the thing, we don't know how much it costs yet. So, yeah, if it was the exact same money as PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, yeah, I mean, unless they add in some more stuff that we haven't been told about, more perks, then yes, that's a really bad deal. But if it's $4 a month, $3 a month, even $4.95 a month, is that so bad? $5 a month is, it's not a lot. And you think about the last subscription service that Nintendo launched was the Pokemon Bank, and yeah, that's a subscription service, but it's $4.99 a year. $4.99 a year is cents a month. So we don't know how much this is going to cost. I don't think we know all the benefits, but I don't think we're going to get an extra massive benefit. There'll probably be some other cool things they'll announce for it. But I also don't see them launching it at the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live price points. And as long as they don't, I think that it's fine. So that's that out of the way. Next up is, I guess it's probably the biggest one. It's probably the biggest one. The memory size. So the Switch itself has 32 gigabytes of internal memory, and people are freaking out about this. There's so many things to think of, and I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible because I could talk about this for quite a long time. But small storage space isn't the problem at the moment. I think that large storage space is the problem. It's making developers really, really lazy. Okay, first up, we'll talk about this. A study was done essentially on PlayStation 4 games. PlayStation, as you know, Blu-ray discs can hold up to 80 gig of data. So people are thinking, well, if the game's 80 gig, a Blu-ray game's 80 gig, then, and we've only got 32 gigabytes of internal storage, what are we going to do? But, well, this is the thing. So, more than 80% of the games currently on PlayStation 4, so more than 80%, are less than 10 gigs. And a huge portion of those are less than 5. And I'm sort of jumping all over the place with my points, but a lot of games are very small file size in comparison to their storage media. Xbox generally has much larger files, like, you know, the Halo Master Chief Collection is like 85 gig or something downloaded on the console. And the reason that is 85 gig, there are a couple of things that developers do that essentially they do out of laziness, or last option sort of thing, that means that these file sizes are getting way overblown. The first one is uncompressed audio. So they don't compress the audio files at all. And that is, it maybe inches out like tiny bits of performance, tiny bits, which is why you see that more on the Xbox One than the PlayStation 4, because the Xbox One is sort of only like a tiny bit behind in performance. So what developers were doing, instead of finding optimizations elsewhere to make the games run better, they're just making the audio uncompressed. And these can be tens of gigabytes worth of files. And the reason they can be tens of gigabytes is the next thing, that they have these uncompressed audio files from multiple languages, all, whether you use them or not, all on the disc or all in the download file. So it's not just English. If you download the English version, it's not just the English uncompressed audio files you have to stock in your store. It's also the Japanese, if there's Japanese. It's also the like German, if there's German. It's also French. Like, this is just a silly move. You should only, like, essentially developers should be only putting the audio that you would generally need on the file disk or in the download file for the version that you're downloading, and then you can offer the audio packs as separate downloads in case somebody wants to play in a different language. That makes more sense. It's much better for us, because at the moment we've got, consoles with a terabyte of hard drive size, but then we're stuck with games that are like 80 gig simply because they have 40 gig worth of audio that we don't need. And that's the thing. It's not that, I mean, having more isn't necessarily better, because it's just making developers lazy. It's making them think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. They're not thinking about our storage space anymore. And 1 terabyte is really small even for the Xbox One right now. That is not a lot. And it's simply because no developer is really thinking about file size. The other huge thing is FMVs. So instead of basically they're doing massive cutscenes, and for the case of Final Fantasy 13, so we'll talk about Final Fantasy 13, it's something around 37 gig. You could play the whole entire game from start to finish, every gameplay, every battle, every war, every hallway section, every bit of actual gameplay you could play, including audio, because it does use compressed audio. Roughly 5 gig. That's the entire game. 32 gig of that is FMV cutscenes. 32 gig. And there's the point of a bunch of those FMV cutscenes are actually rendered in the exact same graphics and graphical engine that the game is running in. If you do the cutscene, if you basically program the cutscenes to let the game do them, then it's nothing. But because you have essentially like a movie, a pre-rendered movie, even using the exact same graphics, it's massive file sizes. So that's another thing. Like if you're going to be doing cutscenes but doing them in the exact same graphics as the game, then just take the little bit of extra time, or do it in the game's engine and not make it pre-rendered cutscenes, because that is blowing out it's blowing out file size massively. There is another point of that. It's just in general compression. So most of the time they're just not using compression on not just audio files, but that's one of the biggest ones, and it is really stupid. So here's the thing, right? If you can get a quality, if you can get a massive game, we're talking about Final Fantasy 13 is a massive game. Even if you took out all the cutscenes, you're still looking at like tens of hours worth of gameplay. That whole thing is 5 gig. If we can get quality games like that for only 5 gig, and if we put in, you know, a couple of optimizations, or we only used, you know, limited FMV cutscenes, putting in a micro SD card, which is what the Switch is compatible with, a 64 gig micro SD card could potentially save, like, we're talking about, you know, like potentially saving 12 or more really high quality games. And that's downloaded ones. That's if you choose only to download games. Most people out there prefer physical media still. It's why it's still a thing. And that's the other move that the Switch has that sort of has an advantage. It's on a cartridge. That means that when you put in the cartridge, you're not going to be downloading like 20 gigs of data off the disc to improve loading times and stuff like that. It's not needed. The cartridge, the way the cartridge works and the solid state media works, we won't need to do that. So it's every game you own on a cartridge is going to be taking up nothing or almost nothing of that storage space. So if you plan on not downloading any games, like if you plan on not actually downloading any full Switch games, so you could fit a bunch of Virtual Console stuff, like Virtual Console games are like 10 meg. But you could, I mean, go with the 32 gig indefinitely, like forever, because you're never going to fill that up by just having Virtual Console games and using cartridges. You're going to need a micro SD card, yes, if you're going to be doing some digital game downloading. But micro SD cards are a very standard format and they're very cheap. I mean, in regards to most sizes, obviously your 128 gigs and your 256 gigs are going to be a little bit more expensive. But if you really, I mean, if you need 256 gigs, I'm assuming that what's going to happen is Nintendo will make sure that file sizes, that game sizes are very well optimized, because they have in the past. They've been very well optimized. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a massive, massive game in scope and in gameplay and everything like that. But its file size compared to something that you really think shouldn't have a massive file size, like, I don't know, Titanfall 2 that is 48 gigs. Xenoblade Chronicles X is under 10. So I assume that Nintendo are going to be optimizing this sort of thing. And it would be better if the rest of the industry was forcing them to optimize, to not be so lazy and optimize the file sizes as well. It's really, really annoying to think, oh, well, I'm going to have to buy a portable hard drive for my Xbox One, which has a 1 terabyte capacity. And I've only downloaded like 8 games just because nobody is optimizing for file space. They're just putting in like 8 languages worth of uncompressed audio files and taking the easy pre-rendered FMV way out. So that's the file size sort of thing out of the way. I don't think that's going to be a big problem, in all honesty. Most people are going to buy the games on cartridge. I know I am, because I'm a collector. I don't think many gamers like to only own digital content. You're going to be fine. If you only plan to buy cartridge games, you're probably never going to need a micro SD card expansion, ever. And if you want to download 4, 5, if you want to download 10 full games, you can probably get away with a 64 gig micro SD card, which is like, it's a tiny cost. In Australia, even, where we usually get, you know, massive price hikes on things, they're not very expensive at all. So that should be fine. I don't see that being a problem. I really don't. And the last tiny thing I want to talk about is the accessories. So people were really, really angry about the cost of accessories. Well, I mean, most people were. And I've way overbrewed this tea, but that's alright. Let's get the payoff. I don't mind a strong green tea every now and then, and this is, which is what this is. It is flavored with peach, so it should be okay still. Yeah, so, oh man, that actually smells amazing. If you guys got your hands on a Nostulous Rift from Ubisoft, I'd let you smell that. So the accessories, and I'm half and half on this. Some of the accessories I think are overpriced, but other accessories I think it's very reasonable. So the things that I think are overpriced, the Pro Controller. Pro Controller is definitely overpriced in my mind, because as far as we know, there isn't a whole lot of tech in it. As far as we know, like, I mean, it's basically just a controller, right? I don't see where the in Australia at least it's $119.95, $120, and for comparison, the Xbox One controller is $100. It sort of shifts between $94.95, $105, depending on the color or whatever you get. So I mean, I usually say about $100, and it's the same for the DualShock 4. The only DualShock 4 that's been $120 was the 20th anniversary one, as far as I remember. So about $100. So it's about $20 more than the competition's ones, and I don't see it having a lot of tech in it. Like, I can sympathize with DualShock 4 pricing. It has a trackpad, it has six axis motion controls, it has a speaker. I mean, it has tech in it that normally isn't on a controller. The Xbox One controller really has nothing. And that's what the Wii U Pro controller essentially has, is nothing. It's basically an Xbox One controller, right? So why is it $20 more expensive? I can't understand that one. The dock, I don't think that's that expensive. I mean, the dock does have tech in it. Obviously, it's converting signals to go out by HDMI. It's doing some stuff. And we obviously don't know the full internals of what it's doing. We don't know if it actually increases the power, like if it actually pumps more power into it, not just charging it, and that's what gives it the performance increase when it's docked. Like, the dock obviously does something, and there's obviously some tech in there, so I don't see that really being a problem. But the other thing that people were complaining about was the Joy-Cons. So I'll use US pricing for this. It's easiest. Joy-Cons are $79.95. $79.95 for a bundle of 2 Joy-Cons. And people are like, oh my god, like, why? But, I mean, really, okay, I'll put up this infographic, because I made this after Twitter, because a lot of people were complaining about it, and I really thought about it for a second, and it's like, yeah, it's $20 more expensive than an Xbox One controller. An Xbox One controller is one player. It is powered by AA batteries, which you have to buy. It has a rumble and buttons. Like, that's it. The Xbox One controller is just a controller. It essentially has little to no tech in it. And I didn't even mention in the infographic that how cheaply the Xbox One controller is put together. The analog stick is restricted, essentially, by plastic. By just the plastic shell, which wears away, and that's why so many people have the problem of the analog stick getting stuck. It's not that it gets stuck, it's that it wears away the plastic barrier that stops it from going too far. So that happens in like a year for people who play regularly. So it's a crap control. Like, it basically does nothing. It has no tech in it, and it's sort of put together pretty cheaply. The Joy-Cons, on the other hand, are 1 or 2 players. They're rechargeable. They have the HD haptic feedback, which is, I have been assured, and I've been watching some demos and stuff, that it is actually more advanced than just putting a rumble pack in. There's an NFC reader writer, which is obviously for amiibos. There is accelerometer and a gyro motion control, so that's much more than just the 6-axis control of a PlayStation 4. 6-axis is just sort of as you move the controller around. That's like full Wiimote Plus type tracking, and even better than the Wiimote Plus as far as we've seen. It has a motion IR camera. That's like Kinect. That's like a Microsoft Kinect type technology, and it comes with the 2 wrist strap accessories, which are also, you know, like the larger grips with the bigger buttons and that sort of thing. So, I mean, for $20, $20 more than an Xbox One controller for all of that. I mean, there is so much technology packed into these things. And just because they are small, or just because you think they're small, I think that 2 of them with the wrist straps are actually pretty comparable to most normal controllers, like the DualShock 4 and the Xbox One controller. But people look at it and think it's small. But, I mean, why is a larger, emptier plastic shell worth more? Like, why are people looking at it as a size thing and not as a technology thing? Because just because the Xbox One has large sections of empty space in a plastic shell shouldn't mean that it is worth more. And it isn't. I mean, the technology in it is nothing compared to what's in the Joy-Cons. It's only... It has way more tech as well as the DualShock 4. Yes, the DualShock 4 has a couple of things, but some of those things, like the light bar, for instance, I mean, has limited functionality when you don't have the PlayStation camera and it's not in a compatible game. So there are sort of limited uses to that sort of thing, whereas it is some pretty advanced technology in the Joy-Cons. I don't see it being $20 more than an Xbox One controller as being a rip-off. I see one clear rip-off in the controller accessories market, and it is the Xbox One controller. The fact they charge the same as a DualShock 4 is ridiculous. So maybe by comparison, the Joy-Cons are slightly overpriced compared to the DualShock 4. Maybe $69.99 would have been a better price point, but I still don't think that $79.99 is that bad. And you also have to keep in mind that if you're buying, if you're a family and you've got 2 kids, which is a pretty general sort of situation, if you're buying a Switch, it comes with a set of 2 Joy-Cons, which for a big... for at least some games, we don't know what the majority is, but we've seen a lot of games, and most games are compatible with just the one Joy-Con control stick. So it essentially comes bundled with 2 controllers. You don't need to buy 2 new Joy-Cons. You don't need to buy a Pro controller, even for your family, even for your 2 kids. You're essentially getting that packed in the box. And that is something you have to think about as well, the cost of the console. So people are thinking like maybe the console's a little bit overpriced, in comparison to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But you think, if you're a family and you've got 2 kids, if you buy an Xbox One, then you have to spend an extra $60 on the Xbox One on another Xbox One controller. You basically have to. There's no choice. And same with the PlayStation 4. Whereas for a big chunk of what Nintendo hopes to capture, they're not going to need to buy these extra things. Everything you need to do, even for 2 people, is packed in the box. So I don't really see that as being that massive of a problem. The Joy-Cons, I think, are in a vacuum, they're probably well priced. In a comparison to the DualShock 4, they may be $10 too expensive, but I mean, compared to the Xbox One, it's a steal, really. Anyway, finally, the last couple of the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to try and have a drink here, and I will try and not burn myself. That didn't actually turn out too strong at all. I'm very pleased with that. So peachy. So, the exciting stuff. The JRPG stuff. Because I've talked about a lot now, and I did warn on Twitter, follow me on Twitter by the way, I did warn on Twitter that this was probably going to be a long one, because I did want to touch on those things. But the coolest stuff about the Switch, I mean, I am excited for it. I'm not like super excited at launch, particularly like not straight away at launch. I mean, I am for Zelda for sure, and that's definitely the way I want to play it. I have a Wii U, I love my Wii U, but I definitely want to play this on the Switch. So it's good. There's nothing really else like straight away at launch, but very soon after launch we have things like Disgaea 5 Complete coming. If you haven't picked that up on the PlayStation 4, I mean, this is going to include all the DLC and stuff like that. And Disgaea really is a game perfect to play on the go. Because, I mean, there's a lot of sort of grinding and that sort of thing in Disgaea. So that's a great thing. There's The other thing that I'll be really excited for, which again is I don't think it's too long after launch. I think it's probably a couple of months down the line. But Splatoon 2. I know it's not a JRPG, but I loved Splatoon. I have spent more than 1,000 hours in the original Splatoon on Wii U. Apart from Xenoblade Chronicles X on Wii U, it is my most favorite game on that console, and I mean, it's one of my most favorite games ever. I love Splatoon. I love everything about that game. And I really can't wait for Splatoon 2. I really can't wait for that. So simply, those two games, initially Zelda and Splatoon 2, are more than enough for me. Now in Japan, they have announced that also Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch. I don't know if we got the localization news on that yet, because we don't even have Dragon Quest Heroes 2 on any console. We have number 1 on PlayStation 4, so I don't know if we'll be getting that in the West as localized. But that would be cool. That's at launch in Japan. That would be cool if we did get them. But the really exciting stuff, and there was a lot for JRPG fans, like they just kept coming out. We have a new RPG series by the creators of Bravely Default, by the developers of Bravely Default and Bravely Second. That looks amazing. Project Octopath Traveler. That looked awesome. That's going to be awesome. There is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, I really can't wait for that. Now, that says that it's due for release in 2017. We did get a comment, I believe, from Monolith Soft saying that it's due out in Japan in 2017, but I even have my doubts at that. If it comes out in Japan, I'm guessing December 2017, and I don't see that coming to us, even though it has been listed on the Nintendo infographic. I don't see that coming to us in the West as an English localized version in 2017. I think early 2018, probably. Q1, Q2 2018, probably. That's where I see that. But again, it's a year off. It's not so far. I mean, as far as console cycles go, it's not really that far. Shin Megami Tensei, full 3D, the demons and everything in the Unreal Engine 4. That teaser looked really awesome. Seeing all the demons there in that way, instead of just being sort of like, the rendered sprites or the 2D. So I think that was really cool. And I'm really excited for that. You've got Dragon Quest X and Dragon Quest XI coming from Square Enix. We also haven't had word on localization for those yet. But I do see at least one of those coming to us. Definitely, I see at least one of those, because I believe that the latest, the Dragon Quest VII and the upcoming Dragon Quest VII was, I think, really successful in comparison to the previous entries in the Dragon Quest series, and I think Dragon Quest VIII will also be a hit. So I see them definitely bringing over one or both of those games. I've already talked about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I just have to say it again, because, man, Xenoblade Chronicles X, my favorite game on Wii U by far, one of my favorite games of all time, probably third after Tales of Symphonia and Final Fantasy IX. I love Xenoblade Chronicles X so much. I think I played that for over 1,000 hours as well. I love the scales, I love everything about that. I'm really hyped for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I really can't wait for that, whenever that comes. There were some other announcements though, one in particular, an untitled Tales of game from Bandai Namco. If people don't remember, there used to be 2 Wii exclusive Tales of games. Tales of Symphonia 2, Dawn of the New World, and Tales of Graces, before they got ported to other consoles. And they haven't said that, like, the Tales of is Tales of Berseria port or anything like that. They've said it's untitled. So this could be another Tales game specifically made for a Nintendo system, and that's really cool, especially because there have actually been other ones that we never got in the West for their handheld games. And by all accounts, they were actually really good, because there are some fan translations out there, by the way. They're really good. So if they have that same sort of team working on a Switch Tales of, I'm really excited for that. Really excited. And I believe Bandai Namco also said they had another unannounced project, because they're also bringing over Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2. relatively early on in the launch period, I believe. So yeah, that was some really cool JRPG announcements. The Shin Megami Tensei and Xenoblade Chronicles. And I'm sure there's just going to be more and more. JRPG developers absolutely love handheld consoles. I mean, people say that the Vita failed. The Vita is booming. The Vita is still booming to this day. In Japan, it routinely outsells the Xbox One on a weekly basis. And the Vita sometimes outsells the PlayStation 4 on a weekly basis. So it is booming over there because all of these great JRPG developers are putting games on it. And these games are incredible. I think if we're going to go through the most hidden gems from the last 2 or 3 years, I would say 80% of them are going to be on the Vita. Because not enough people own one to know that there are so many good games on there. And games, JRPGs, and games that aren't afraid to try new things, because it seems like everything that you have to put on a console has to be massively wide appealing. But the Vita, I don't know what's obviously the popularity of handhelds in Japan has obviously helped that, but it must be easy to develop for because there's just some Trillion God of Destruction, which recently got the port to PC. That is a game about essentially a whole game with an entire story, and not a bad one, but it's about fighting one boss, and it's still a really good game. So yeah, I see the Switch getting all of this support from that sort of crowd, from the Vita developing crowd. And I think we're just going to see more and more announcements for that kind of stuff coming up. There was also a Suda 51 game, which isn't really a JRPG in general, but it's like basically No More Heroes 3. He has said some more about that, said it won't be coming in 2017, it'll be coming in 2018. But yeah, I mean, there's some really exciting stuff with the Switch, especially for JRPG fans. And I mean, the JRPGs that we did get on the Wii U were all incredible. Xenoblade Chronicles X, incredible. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, incredible. If we get this kind of stuff and more, and Nintendo has the support of other publishers, which it looks like they do for now, especially getting like Bethesda on board, which doesn't seem like a big deal. It's not even a big deal to me. I'm not going to buy Skyrim. I couldn't care about Skyrim at all. But the fact that Bethesda was willing to work with Nintendo since the Super Nintendo, I believe, was the last time Bethesda ever did anything on a Nintendo console. For them to have the support of that is really good. If they can keep up the support, keep the launches coming, keep their good first-party titles coming, they'll end up watching that JRPG development crowd from the handhelds really pick up the support. And I think if they can get that support on the Switch, and the Switch will probably sell well. I think the hype train is still going. I'm not exactly hyped. I'm still going to pick up one day one because I'm going to be playing games for YouTube content for all of you guys. But there are some really exciting things. I really can't wait for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I really can't wait for the unannounced Tales game. I really can't wait for Shin Megami Tensei. And if Dragon Quest 10 and 11 are making the localization, I really can't wait for that. Can't wait for Zelda. The new Mario game looks good. I've never been a huge fan of those Mario type games, but I mean, it looked good. It looks like the Mario 64 that the Switch needs, essentially. Alright guys, I said this was going to be a long one, and it has been. I don't know how much I've cut out during post-editing, but if you guys don't know, I have launched a Patreon. It will, the link is in the description, and there'll also be a link on the end card of this video. I will never gate content, so I'm never going to have Patreon only content or paid only content, and I don't expect any of you guys to donate. I really don't. But if you want to put $1 on, and seriously, you don't know how much $1 means to me, it all adds up to just me being able to bring you guys better content, me being able to support myself, me being able to support my channel, get new equipment, all that good stuff. I mean, if you want to give $1, give $1. And there are some perks I've put up there if you do give the $1 or more, whatever you guys want to do. I'll never expect it from you. I'll never gate content. But if you guys want to do that, I would love you for it. Subscribe, hit that like button, share this video, share this series. I do really like doing this JRPTea-Time series. I didn't know how it was going to be received, but most of you guys seem to enjoy it. So definitely share that around. Give it bigger stuff. Once 2,000 subs is coming up, and I'm going to be doing a massive giveaway, so watch out for that. And other than that, guys, I'll see you all soon.